Now, Devstream 166 has just ended, which means we got a lot of things to talk about. It was a pretty busy Devstream. It was also the last Devstream of the year, with the Lewis Prey update set to drop in 2 days' time. So there is just a wee bit of content to round the year out. Now, we got a first look at Voruna in-game, our wolf-themed frame. Not werewolf, just wolf. And after seeing her in action, she is pretty unique in terms of how she functions. Very melee friendly, but also has some snowball potential with energy orbs and health orbs, and of course status immunity, and of course that extra life if you wanted it as well. Now, her idle animations have her shoulders popping off and opening their mouths while they hover around you, which is really weird to look at. She also has her own wispy Okurai ephemera behind her, which is kind of loads of tails. Now, I'm still on the fence on her looks. I'm not sure whether I like them or don't like them. She seems very bulky from shoulder to hip, and the alt helmet is super pointy. I'm not a fan of that at all, but that's just me. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of Voruna's visuals. Now, more importantly, right, visuals aside, we got a look at Voruna's 4 abilities in action as well, and she has 4 passives, which is a first for any Warframe main game. Basically, her 4 wolf heads, right, her pack, the one on each shoulder and the one on each hip, they are her abilities, but they are also her passive of choice as well. You can activate any passive mid-mission or at the start of the mission if you want to, by holding the ability down depending on what passive you want for that given mission. So this is the 4 passives explained. Her first passive, if you choose to hold down that first ability, Shroud of Dinar, gives her a boost to parkour movement. Her second passive from the second ability, Fangs of Raksh, makes her immune to status effects for the duration of the mission once that passive stays active, which sounds a little bit bonkers. Her third passive from the ability Lycat's Hunt is a heavy attack efficiency passive, so you're going to have more efficiency for your heavy melee attacks. Her fourth passive from her ability Ulfrun's Descent will give you an extra life, so if you take a death blow while that passive is active, Ulfrun instead will die, and it has a 30-second cooldown before you can regain that extra life. So you can choose which of these 4 passives you want to either at the start of the mission or on the fly during the mission, which sounds pretty great. Like I said, it is pretty damn unique. So that's her 4 passives. Now, her 4 abilities and how they function are as follows. Her first ability, Shroud of Dinar, is a stealth ability that will cloak you, make you invisible, increasing your movement speed, but once you melee attack while you're invisible, it will uncloak you, but it will also give you a window of opportunity to give you a crit and a status buff if you can kill within that window of opportunity the minute you become uncloaked. Now, her second ability, Lycat's Hunt, is an ability where headshot kills will drop energy orbs and melee kills will drop health orbs. This is also her helmet ability that you can give to other Warframes at a 50% strength, so it's not at full strength. This is also going to be a really useful ability for anyone who wants to run with either power strength conversion mods or energy conversion mods, or even the new arcane mod that scales with health orbs that's said to increase your health with every health orb that you pick up. Now, her third ability, Fangs of Raksh, will spread 10 stacks of 5 random status effects onto enemies. You don't get to choose what the status effects are, like I said, it's random, but it will spread to enemies inside a small radius around your initial target that you're attacking. Which leaves us with her ultimate ability, Ulfrun's Descent. This is a pounce attack ability where Voruna will go down on all fours and has 5 charges of this pounce, so you can use it 5 times, and it's basically 5 pounces that spread huge amounts of slash damage in a radius around your target, but also killing an enemy from one of those attacks will scale the ability's next attack, and so on for each of the 5 attacks. So you're going to basically want to be hitting weak enemies with your first few attacks in order to scale that damage up for your later attacks. Now, I'm not sure what way this will perform or how big the radius of attack will actually be, depending on whether stretch mods or that affect your builds, but 5 charges does seem pretty limited for an ultimate ability. Now, a question some of you are going to be asking is, how are you going to farm Voruna and her weapons once they come with this update? Her Perigale Sniper is absolutely huge, almost as big as an arc gun, and her Sarafang two-handed axe melee weapon is pretty damn nice looking as well. So you're going to have to farm these and her weapons in the new Lua survival missions coming with the Lewis Prey update in 2 days' time. There are 2 different types of these survival missions coming with this update that apparently have altering or different types of drop tables. So Voruna, Sarafang and the Perigale, I think they said, will be farmable from one set of the new survival missions, the lower ranked ones, whereas there's also 4 new arcanes that are going to be coming with the higher level Lewis survival missions as well. And like I said, one of these new arcanes will scale your health of your Warframe for every health orb that you pick up. And I think Rebecca said it scales by 4 health per orb. I think it was something like that, which does seem kind of small in the grander scheme of things. So this could work really well with Voruna, who can generate health orbs a lot, or a Necros tanky build, or an Inros, and so on. You get the idea. Now, Necromechs are going to be usable inside these new survival missions. They will have a 10-minute cooldown, and you're going to be able to use them for a 2-minute duration. And this is in order to combat the Thrax units that are going to spawn in at 5 minutes of these survival missions, where they will double your life support consumption until you kill the Thrax units. So you're going to have to kill them fast, because they will drain life support at twice the speed that it normally does. But like I said, you will be able to call in a Necromech every 10 minutes. Now, this weird Teshin looking Deviri Spectre that walks between towers in the survival missions apparently buffs ability power and casting speed inside his radius if you, I guess, follow him around. Whether you're going to do that or not, I'm not entirely sure. Lewis Thrax Plasm variant is a drop you're going to get from these new survival missions as well, and it's going to be something Yonta apparently will use as a currency to buy stuff off of, so it's kind of like an event vendor. And it also sounded like they were hinting that maybe Voruna or her weapons might be farmable that way if you're not lucky with RNG from the drops from running those survival missions. Now, Zaku Deluxe is finally being added with this update as well. This is what he looks like. Looks great, but just a skin. Lotus Amaga skin as well also looks really, really nice, but just a skin. There is 2 new Tenet weapons coming with the update as well. The Tenet Plinks, which is apparently very different to the normal Plinks, so you shouldn't be judging a book by its cover, but I guess we'll see when we get it in our hands. And the second new Tenet weapon is the Ferox, and it can be bought off Ergo Glast in a relay. So the Plinks and the Ferox are the 2 new Tenet weapons. SelfDamage has been held back for the time being, so it's not coming with the Lewis Prey update. It honestly sounded like they're still working the kinks out of it, so shoot yourself in the foot as much as you want until your heart's content with explosive weapons right now, because SelfDamage isn't returning just yet. Baruuk Prime was also shown off for the first time. This is him, this is what he looks like with his Afuris Prime, and of course the Cobra and Crane Prime sword and board as well. Let me know what you think of Baruuk Prime and his visuals, whether this is a Prime access you're actually interested in or not. Cross-platform play was also spoken a little bit about during the dev stream. Xbox and PC have been successfully playing with each other for quite a while now, and soon they want to turn it on for other platforms as well, so PlayStation and Switch, but they want to turn it on silently. I don't know if they're expecting a huge flood of players to jump on straight away once they find out that crossplay is active, but maybe that could be the case. So I guess it's going to be up to maybe content creators to let you guys know when it's actually turned on, or stay tuned on Twitter as well. For those of you asking about cross-save, it apparently is way down the line, because crossplay has to be complete first, and right now crossplay isn't complete for some of the consoles. Grendel, big fat roly boy, is also getting a solid sounding rework, which I'll quickly go over right now, but I want to go over it in more depth in another video, maybe tomorrow or the day after when I get around to it. Grendel, with his rework, will only be able to eat 5 enemies at a time, but there's going to be no energy consumption when you have enemies in your belly. So rest in peace to any one of you who has a whole room gobble build for your Grendel, because now you're only going to be able to eat 5 enemies at a time. His passive is now also stacking to 250 armor per enemy consumed. All of his buffs will be applied at the same cast time now, so no longer will you have to rotate between his 3 buffs. The 3 buffs are now a retaliation buff, which will give you stagger and a viral AoE attack on enemies. His viral damage buff on weapons is his second buff, and his third buff is extra energy from energy orbs. Now his meatball and his regurgitate have swapped positions. Meatball has an energy drain if enemies are in your belly, and you can cast abilities while also being in meatball mode as well. Fucking meatball mode, Jesus John. His meatball mode also has a heal over time, and this heal over time kind of reduces the longer you stay in meatball mode. And his regurgitate ability now strips armor and applies toxin in a large area in front of him. Now Yoreli also got a rework, but it's Yoreli, so who bloody cares? Okay, her passive doesn't immediately disappear when moving. Her Merlina K-Drive now scales like Iron Skin and absorbs incoming damage for a few seconds. Enemies affected by her Sea Snare take double damage, and her Riptide can pull enemies in with the first cast, and then with the hold down cast you can explode them. Now, there was a few other quality of life changes that I'm just quickly going to glance over, like the health orbs are being buffed from 25 health to 50 health. There is Trinity's Well of Life is having its range increased, but it's going to nullify status effects that would be taken by allies in range. Conclave is getting some quality of life changes for the 3 Russian guys that still play it. Eximus units are getting quality of life as well, where their base health is being increased, but the mercy kill window is also being increased to compensate for that, so you're going to be able to mercy kill them with more health than what you can right now. Eximus spawn delay is being reduced to 60 seconds. Semi-automatic weapons are getting changes as well, where the fire rates are being reduced. I think there's a full set of augment reworks as well. So yeah, there's a few more. Look, I'm going to leave the link to the full dev stream in the description of this video. Go check it out. It is an hour and 45 minutes long, so have a cup of tea or something, or booze or something with you. Let me know what you like or didn't like about the dev stream. Have a great day, and as always, thanks for watching.